Today's news highlights 20251001. Date October 1, 2025. Republic of China October 1, 114. Time cutoff point, 1500 hours on the same day. Source, Internet, major news media and channels, official accounts, app data. The channel content is only concise news content and does not have any perception or emotion. News highlights soy protein contains complete essential amino acids that can repair muscles and promote growth, and is low in saturated fat and cholesterol, which supports cardiovascular health. Studies have shown that it can lower cholesterol, relieve menopausal symptoms, and maintain bone density. Soy protein can also increase satiety and is suitable for weight management, but patients with kidney disease should consume it with caution. News highlights skin problems are often related to immune and gastrointestinal health, not just superficial lesions. TCM notes that fatigue or stress can lead to a decrease in immunity, leading to hives, seborrheic dermatitis, eczema, acne, and even herpes. Gastrointestinal dysfunction can also reduce immunity and worsen the skin. Therefore, improving skin condition should start with adjusting diet and intestinal health. News highlights in October, a number of new systems were launched. People's livelihood electricity prices increased by an average of 0.71%, and the monthly electricity bill for a family of 4 increased by about 33 to 70 yuan. The universal cash of 1 yuan will be received in late October at the earliest. Publicly funded influenza and new crown vaccines will be launched in 2 phases. Civil servants have added 3 days of physical and mental adjustment leave every year. National health insurance includes a new generation of BTK-targeted drugs to reduce the burden on cancer patients. News highlights foreign media revealed that the United Promotion Party was involved in helping the CCP recruit spies, spread United Front remarks, and even hoard firearms in Taiwan, which has become the CCP's 5th column. In the past 5 years, nearly 200 related black guns have been seized, and the number of espionage cases has also surged. The U.S. criticized Taiwan's espionage crime as too light and undeterred, and experts are worried that it may become an internal threat to destroy society during wartime. The Ministry of the Interior has petitioned for the dissolution of the party, and scholars have called for amendments to the law and the establishment of a dedicated national security court to strengthen defense. News highlights U.S. Secretary of Commerce Lutnick proposed to reach a 55% chip production capacity with Taiwan, advocating moving mass production back to the United States to safeguard national security. Taiwan responded cautiously and did not commit. Experts pointed out that it will be difficult to meet the standard within 3 years, which will affect the defense and supply chain game between the United States and Taiwan has also responded to the CCP's pressure with measures such as restricting exports to South Africa. News highlights President Trump delivered a speech to senior U.S. military officials in Quantico, Virginia, emphasizing the revival of the warrior spirit, building a stronger and faster force, and considering expanding the size of the military. He pointed out that military superiority comes from culture and spirit, not resources alone, and called for dangerous cities to be used as training grounds. Trump also reiterated that defending the homeland is the top priority, emphasizing that the U.S. military will focus on countering threats in the Western Hemisphere and demonstrating its determination to maintain domestic and foreign security. News highlights although low-cost airlines have low fares, they have limited operational flexibility, and passengers may be in trouble when there is a lack of alternatives when flights are cancelled or delayed. Experts remind that before booking, you should check the airline's scale, app functions, and whether customer service can provide immediate assistance, and pay attention to 3 major warning signs: no customer service phone, too many customer complaints, and hidden traps in the cost structure. Although the safety standards are consistent, the main risk of low-cost airlines lies in operations and services, and passengers are advised to weigh the cost-effectiveness to avoid additional damage due to delays or cancellations. News highlights dementia has become a major challenge with the aging population, and the prevalence rate among the elderly over 65 years old in Taiwan is nearly 8%. Dr. Nathaniel Chin, an expert at the University of Wisconsin, recommends maintaining metabolic health through intermittent fasting, such as eating after 11 a.m. and finishing dinner 3 hours before bedtime, and adding turmeric and cinnamon to black coffee to reduce brain burden by anti-inflammatory and blood sugar stabilization. He also emphasized 3 major daily guardian methods: regular exercise, avoiding sugary drinks, and mindful stress reduction. Although there is no cure, good diet and lifestyle habits can help reduce the risk of dementia. News highlights fruit yogurt may seem healthy, but if you choose the wrong yogurt, pair it with high-sugar fruits or excessive ingredients, it can easily turn into a high-sugar and high-calorie dessert trap. Nutritionist reminds, yogurt should be sugar-free plain or Greek yogurt, avoid added sugar and puree. Fruits should be low sugar and high fiber, such as blueberries, strawberries, apples. Ingredients are controlled in small amounts of nuts or chia seeds, avoiding excessive amounts of honey and dried fruits. If you want to lose fat, you can add protein ingredients, eggs, soy milk, chicken breast, to increase satiety. Only by mastering the portion size and combination can you enjoy the yogurt cup without fear of gaining weight. News highlights: the U.S. Pointer study by the American Alzheimer's Association shows that regular exercise, healthy diet, cognitive training, and social interaction can effectively delay cognitive decline. A 2-year clinical trial found that structured lifestyle interventions were more effective than self-guided interventions, slowing the rate of cognitive aging in older adults by 1 to 2 years. News highlights: in the second half of 2025, global container shipping will experience a low peak season, and Shanghai's export freight index will continue to fall. Taiwan's 2 major shipping companies have different strategies. Evergreen is optimistic about medium and long-term market recovery and continues to expand its fleet. Yang Ming believes that the off-season is early and adopts a conservative strategy. The speed of market demand recovery, supply growth, and sustainable costs will affect the future competitive landscape. News highlights: Uni President Investment Trust is optimistic about the long-term pattern of Taiwan stocks and launched the second active ETF, Unified Global Innovation Active ETF, laying out AI and 6 major innovation fields. The market's reaction to tariffs and inflation has weakened, and employment and AI fundamentals have become more influential. AI has not yet bubbled, the industry is expanding rapidly, and short-term consolidation can be seen as an investment opportunity. News highlights: Economic Prediction Revolution uses an agent-based model to simulate the housing market and financial interactions in Washington, D.C., USA, recreating the causes of the 2008 financial crisis, revealing how mortgage policies, leverage effects, and psychological expectations pushed up housing prices, and how the bursting of the bubble triggered a global credit crisis. The methodology in the book combines big data with interdisciplinary science to provide decision-making tools for dealing with economic uncertainties. News highlights: Luo's Haiqiang emphasized that he adheres to the syllogism of the Republic of China, opposes Taiwan independence, and also supports cross-strait peace. He believes that the 92 consensus is the cornerstone of stability in cross-strait relations, and that the ruling party should adhere to core values and not adjust its position according to the trend of voters. News highlights: Huang Baiun, 75, from Guangfu Township, Hualien, took emergency evacuation when the typhoon caused more than 1 meter of water in the store, went up to the 3rd floor to report safety, and guarded the old store. The flood washed away the sediment and covered the hardware store's items, and with the help of volunteers, she rescued the cash, passbook, and precious family photos, and survived, thanking the gods for blessing her family. News highlights: Wu Wanjun, who publicly accused her boyfriend Zhao Junya of domestic violence in March this year, was reported to have reunited with Zhao just a few months later and planned to travel abroad, causing her best friend to be dissatisfied and break off relations. Wu Wanjun emphasized that this is just a simple trip, and she is still working hard to repair her mental trauma and does not want to be judged by the outside world. News highlights: Su Jianchong, the owner of Hualien Guangfu Township Farm, went bankrupt in an instant due to the flooding of Typhoon Gaza in Huaxia, and all his mobile phones and property were washed away, leaving only a pair of slippers. He fled through the rapids, calling on relatives and friends to evacuate on the way, and finally joined his family. Su humorously laughed at himself for having a debt of 1,500 yuan, relying on the community and well-wishers to provide clothes and rain boots to survive the post-disaster life, still showing the resilience of the Amos to survive. News highlights: Ruan Jingtian's love affair is exposed again. It is rumored in the circle that he already has a real girlfriend, Miss Su, who is 20 years younger than him, and the two have been dating for more than a year. Su is from a wealthy family in China, currently studying at a prestigious school in South Korea, and has lived with Ruan in Taipei for several weeks. Ruan Jingtian kept a low-key relationship and maintained long-distance relationships across Taiwan, South Korea, and China. News highlights: Hualien Guangfu Township was seriously affected by the overflow of the Matayan dammed lake, and a large amount of materials poured in, but the county government required them to show their disaster victim identification card to receive lunch boxes, resulting in lunchbox waste. Kuomintang lawmaker Zhong Peijun said that no one starved to death because they didn't eat lunch, and the video sparked criticism from netizens, criticizing him for being cold-blooded and inconsiderate of the plight of the victims and volunteers. News highlights: the online media Ling Media announced yesterday, 30th, that it would suspend publication from now on due to its involvement in the controversy over the paparazzi group of People's Party chairman Huang Qiuqing. Internal revelations pointed out that President Chen Shengqing admitted that some of the exclusive news sources were not company reporters, but Huang Qiuqing's paparazzi team. This incident exposed political interference in media operations, which eventually led to the suspension of Ling Media and the loss of its reporters. News highlights: Chinese short drama actress Su Zian became popular for filming intensive kissing scenes, but it also caused emotional twists and turns. She broke up with her boyfriend Li Yunpeng, who is also a skit actor, due to disagreements in career philosophies. Su Zian said that filming kissing scenes is a professional requirement, and in order to better interpret the role, it is not to ignore the other party's feelings. Despite multiple communications, they were unable to reach a consensus and ultimately respected the decision to break up. Both sides emphasized a peaceful breakup and denied rumors about cheating or tongue-kissing scenes. Netizens have polarized views on this. Some understand the man's position, and some support Su Zian to focus on his acting career. News highlights OpenAI CEO Altman visited Taiwan on September 30 and met with Han Hai and TSMC to discuss the cooperation in the construction of the Stargate AI data center in the United States and the self-developed AI chip delivery plan. News highlights as global DRAM inventories fall to all-time lows and prices continue to soar, the 7-year DRAM supercycle repeats. AI and data center demand has boosted the use of bandwidth memory. HBM, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron have benefited, and Taiwanese manufacturers Nanya and Winbond can also benefit. News highlights Taiwan stocks opened higher on the 30th, with the weighted index closing at 25,820 points, up 240 points. If the lower edge of the gap stands firm at 25,887 points and TSMC rises to 1,355 yuan, Taiwan stocks are expected to challenge 26,000 points. The three lines of defense in the lower range are 25,469 points, 25,279 points, and 25,000 points, and if they are all lost, they may backtest the quarterly line of 24,165 points. News highlights 42-year-old goddess of childlike beauty Li Jiaying has been married to Ali, a rich second-generation husband of Mutton Stove who is 9 years younger than her and has a net worth of 3 billion yuan, for 2 years, and welcomed a 10-month-old son in November last year. Recently, the whole family appeared shopping in the Xinyi business district. Li Jiaying hugged and looked at the clothes. Ali took over to take care of her son, and the family of 3 shared family time with friends. Ali's Mutton Stove restaurant has closed, and he still has other investments, so he is not in a hurry to reopen the store. News highlights a white-haired grandmother was dissatisfied with the young man sitting on the seat and pushed the other party with her bag, and the young man kicked her back and knocked her down, causing heated discussions on the internet. Lawyer Liu Kaiyuan reminded that the man's behavior may involve injury and civil compensation, and called on the public to be cautious when going out. News highlights the collapse of the dam in Hualien Matayan Creek caused flooding. An international supermodel Wu Yuhua appeared in the disaster area for disaster relief, and the humorous catwalk video of stepping on mud and dredging became popular. Wu Yuhua said, "I hope everyone will help forward the father who is looking for a friend," and called for continued attention to the post-disaster reconstruction of the liberation and restoration to show both beauty and love. News highlights 8 o'clock actress Wu Wanjun broke up in March this year due to domestic violence, sued by actor Zhao Jinya and applied for a protection order. Wu Wanjun emphasized that she was just traveling and did not want to be judged by the outside world for her life choices, and her best friend had decided to break off relations with her because she could not accept her turning back. News highlights 42-year-old Golden Horse actor Ruan Jingtian has kept a low profile about his relationship in recent years, and it is rumored that he has been dating the daughter of a wealthy Chinese family who is 20 years younger than him for more than a year. The two are suspected of going abroad again on a date recently, starting a long-distance relationship across Taiwan, South Korea, and China. News highlights the U.S. Senate failed to pass a short-term appropriations extension bill, 55-45, not reaching the 60-vote threshold, and the government has been shut down since October 1, with only essential departments such as the military, law enforcement and border security operating. Trump said he would drastically cut federal civil servants. Experts expect limited short-term economic impact, but non-essential federal employee leaves, delayed data releases, and social welfare adjustments may be affected, putting short-term pressure on the labor market and household finances. News highlights a number of new systems will be launched in October, including the launch of publicly funded influenza and new crown vaccines, new blood cancer drugs to be paid for health insurance, civil servants to take 3 days of physical and mental adjustment leave every year, full electronic entry cards, license tax for commercial vehicles, increase in electricity prices for people's livelihood, and the general issuance of 1 yuan in cash to be pocketed at the earliest end of the month. The new PNI review system of the Port Bureau and the parking timed charging of Daowen Road 10 are also implemented simultaneously. News highlights the flood in Hualien Guangfu Township caused 18 deaths, most of whom were elderly, with limited mobility or dementia. The 81-year-old woman surnamed Chen was paralyzed and unable to use her mobile phone, and the attendant did not arrive on duty and was eventually killed. An 84-year-old woman surnamed Lu was swallowed up by the flood alone. Family members criticized the government's evacuation notice for being incomplete and relying on text messages to provide effective warnings, causing long-term trauma to the victims. News highlights according to the latest border inspection results of the Food and Drug Administration, the pesticide residues of fresh durian imported from Vietnam and fresh citrus imported from Australia exceeded the standard, and the unqualified products exceeded 7 kilograms, which must be returned or destroyed in accordance with the law and prohibited from being listed. Long-term ingestion may damage the liver and kidneys or affect the nervous system, causing symptoms such as dizziness and nausea. News highlights the Singapore gym chain Xuanzhen Yoga Fitness has been closed since October 1, affecting 13 stores and tens of thousands of members across Taiwan. The industry said that due to the impact of the epidemic and the economy, operating losses will be liquidated in accordance with the law and member trust funds will be protected. The Beijing City Legal Affairs Bureau asked Yangzhen Bank to suspend the transfer of about 2.12 billion yuan of trust funds and announce the refund procedure. Consumers can apply for refunds through banks or courts. News highlights many foods are labeled as bad or fattening, but a single food does not directly affect weight, and the key is long-term overall eating habits. Eating Well pointed out that the following 5 commonly misunderstood foods can actually help with weight management: full-fat dairy products, carbohydrate grains, such as pasta, brown rice, eggs, potatoes, and air-popped popcorn, which are rich in protein and fiber, which can improve satiety and help control diet. News highlights the Kaohsiung Xiaogang police branch intercepted nearly 6,000 yuan in fraud this year, but a 44-year-old engineer surnamed Shen mistakenly believed that he was defrauded of 1,503 yuan in online investment. The police reminded the public not to trust investment information from unknown sources. News highlights sharing the creative way to eat preserved egg and small pudding on Threads. Just mix 1 preserved egg with 12 yuan small pudding, and even make jam to spread bread. The post attracted 4 likes. Netizens have polarized opinions. Some people think it is weird and resembles dark cuisine, while others think the taste is special and worth trying. News highlights in 2025, TSMC broke out in a 2nm process leak case, and 9 engineers were involved in the transfer of confidential information to TAL, Tokyo, Japan, and was suspected of being retransmitted to Rapidus. The outside world questioned that TSMC only sued employees and did not pursue TAL because the two sides cooperated closely and the supply chain was highly dependent. Analysts believe that TSMC chose strategic cold treatment to maintain the expansion progress and cooperative relationship with Japan and Taiwan. News highlights the F-5E/F fighter has been in service in my country for nearly half a century and was officially decommissioned in July this year. Colonel Liao Zhenqiu, who has been stationed at this Haihang base for many years, has accumulated 6,054 flight hours, setting a global record, and has been recognized by the original manufacturer NOG. He said that honor belongs to the support of all teammates and family members who stick to their posts, and will continue to uphold their original intention to meet challenges. News highlights a 73-year-old grandmother surnamed Zheng had a conflict with a young man in the carriage, and the video was kicked down by the other party and circulated on the internet. This morning, she was brought back by the police for causing trouble at a convenience store, and was found to be a wanted theft offender and wanted for failing to serve a 55-day sentence. The MRT police said they would trace the identities of both parties and investigate them in accordance with the Social Security law. News highlights in the third-place game of the U18 World Cup Baseball, Taiwan narrowly defeated South Korea 3-2 to win the bronze, and won the winning point by replaying the decision, and reached the podium for 4 consecutive years. After the game, it was reported that South Korean players were crying bitterly, but player Wang Yuxiang broke the news that South Korea had used a translator to provoke Taiwan's Chen Shizhen, saying that this is Taiwan's weakest one, which attracted attention. News highlights on the National Day of Mainland China, artist Wu Kangren reposted a post from People's Daily on Weibo, writing, "I hope the mountains and rivers are splendid, and the country is peaceful and the people are safe," expressing his intention to celebrate the 76th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. Wu Kangren has been in the mainland for a year, not only setting up a personal studio, partnering with Sun Li in the first Chinese drama Obsession, and continuing to devote himself to the filming of Taiwanese dramas and new movies. News highlights the mainland actor fell to his death on the 11th, and the official tone was set as an accident, but related discussions were repeatedly banned on the internet, causing doubts from the outside world. Hu Weining revealed in the community that in 2018, she had the opportunity to sign a contract with Mango Entertainment, to which Yu Hazy belonged, but because she gave up because she was concerned about her children, she was glad that she did not step into the environment, and lamented that she saw Yu Hazy in her dream and cried sadly. News highlights mainland China ushered in the 76th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China, and many Taiwanese artists followed up with official media posts to express their congratulations. Chen Zhipeng took the lead in forwarding Kua Tai Minan. Wu Qilong shouted, "Long live the motherland!" Yi Nengjing, Ouyang Didi, Zhang Ting, Lin Rui Yang, Lu Genghong, Tian Li, Yang Zhongwei, Chen Lineng, and others also spoke out one after another. The collective loss of sincerity by artists has once again sparked heated discussions on both sides of the strait. News highlights a video of the Taipei MRT priority seat dispute went viral. An old woman attacked a young passenger with a bag, and the man counterattacked and kicked her down. The incident sparked polarized comments on the internet, and actor Tang Kongsheng listed 10 reasons on Facebook, calling on the elderly and weak to be tolerant and empathetic, and not to do anything. News highlights mainland actor Yu Hazy fell to his death on the 11th, although the police said the accident after drinking, but due to doubts in public opinion control, the incident continued to attract attention. He solemnly denied and made public the conversation record and voice clarification, but was still questioned by netizens for being too calm during the live broadcast. He reluctantly said that he had produced evidence, but he was still bullied and implicated his family, emphasizing that rumors are prohibited. News highlights the overflow of the dammed lake of Matayan Creek in Hualien caused flooding and silt cover in Guangfu Township, making it difficult for the victims to rebuild, and volunteers from all over Taiwan invested in disaster relief. A video of international supermodel Wu Yuhua wearing black tights and white rain boots sweeping in the mud went viral, and was jokingly called Matthew Saddle Fashion Week by netizens, attracting more than 215 views. Wu Yuhua emphasized that she was just helping her relatives clean up, not deliberately posing for photos. News highlights Soha pointed out that the zodiac chicken, rabbit, tiger, and sheep have strong financial luck in October. The rooster is keen and decisive, seizing opportunities in emerging industries. Rabbit financial management is stable, and low-risk investment returns are stable. Tiger has the courage to innovate and start a business, grasp market trends. Sheep are pragmatic and solid, improve efficiency, control costs, and increase income steadily. News highlights a video of the Taipei MRT priority seat conflict went viral, and an old woman was kicked away with a bag because she was dissatisfied with the seat of a young passenger. Netizens doxed that she was a researcher at Academia Sinica, and revealed that she had repeatedly interfered with order and occupied refreshments in seminars. The Beijing police said that the mutual assault between the two sides has violated the social order maintenance law and will be dealt with in accordance with the law. News highlights China celebrates the 76th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China today, first, and a number of Taiwanese artists forwarded congratulatory posts through the community, among which Chen Zhepeng and Yu Yang Didi took the lead in expressing their positions, known as the first person to lose sincerity. However, Wu Yang Nana and Patty Ho, who were often forwarded in the past, rarely spoke out, suspected that because the Mainland Affairs Council and the Ministry of Culture recently warned artists not to cooperate with Chinese propaganda, some artists kept a low profile. News highlights the 75-year-old writer Heck's home of 30,000 books and creative materials was washed away by the flood, and he urgently climbed up to the second floor to escape. Heck is optimistic and sees it as an opportunity for rebirth, and enthusiastic people in the National Army are rescuing the collection of books, hoping to minimize losses. News highlights People's Party Chairman Huang Qiuakang raised paparazzi and supervised political opponents. Controversy spread. Ling Media announced the suspension of publication yesterday, and the president admitted that a number of exclusive investigation reports had been assisted by Huang Qiuakang. Huang Qiuakang today admitted that the Pier 105 case was investigated by his association from beginning to end, and said that the suspension of publication had nothing to do with him, emphasizing that he had returned to the people at that time, and the investigation did not distinguish between colors. News highlights on the first working day, 9/30, after the reconstruction of the Taipei Mansion roundabout, there was a traffic jam, and the traffic was blocked to Jingmei and Beijing-Qiao. Mayor Zhang Wanan said it was roughly smooth, but netizens pointed out that as early as May, Councillor Miao Boya questioned that the reconstruction would cause traffic jams and suggested retaining the bus underpass. News highlights due to the online media Ling Media being involved in Huang Qiuakang's paparazzi and supervision turmoil, President Chen Shenzheng announced on September 30 that it would suspend publication and lay off employees. Former editor-in-chief Cai Ryun said that he had unilaterally received news from the society, which may have originated from the whistleblower association established by Huang Qiuakang, but the published manuscripts have been rigorously verified. She criticized the president's incompetence and emphasized that journalists should stick to their mission of supervising the government. News highlights the overflow of the dammed lake in Matayangzi, Hualien, severely damaged Guangfu Township, and volunteers shovel Superman assisted in dredging and reconstruction. During the cleanup process, a volunteer accidentally dug up a jar of sorghum, and the homeowner humorously asked, "Do you want to drink it?" which caused laughter from the scene and netizens. The disaster area still needs donations of household and personal cleaning products. News highlights the U.S. Senate voted to extend the appropriation bill on September 30, with 55 votes in favor and 45 against, falling short of the 60-vote threshold, and the federal government officially closed its doors in the early morning of October 1. Trump accused the Democratic Party of absurd policies, refused to negotiate, and posted countdown and posters on the White House's official website to choke the Democratic Party. Non-essential agencies are shut down, tens of thousands of employees are on unpaid leave, and military and border personnel are still on duty. In the past 35 days of closure in 2018 to 2019, it caused economic losses of about $3 billion. News highlights after Hollywood actress Nicole Kidman separated from country singer Keith Urban, she has officially filed for divorce with a Nashville court, ending their 19-year marriage. The two have 17 and 14-year-old daughters, who are under the primary custody of Nicole Kidman, live with their mother 306 days a year, divide the property equally, both parties have a monthly income of more than $10, there are no alimony and child support disputes, and the divorce process will take at least 90 days to take effect. News highlights when a woman got off the bus to pick up the luggage placed deep in the luggage compartment, the door suddenly closed and the bus started. The passenger transport company has contacted passengers to apologize and said that it will strengthen driver education and training to avoid similar accidents from happening again. News highlights: the U.S. Senate voted 55 to 45 to reject the government funding extension bill on September 30, falling short of the 60-vote threshold, and the White House announced that the government would be shut down in the early morning of October 1. About 75 federal employees will be furloughed, with daily personnel costs of about $400 million. The two parties are at a stalemate on the Medicaid issue, with non-essential departments suspended, and core businesses such as national security and law enforcement still maintained. This shutdown is the first in nearly 7 years, and its duration is difficult to predict. News highlights: a clash broke out on the Taipei Metro on September 29, when a 73-year-old woman surnamed Zheng asked a young passenger to give up her priority seat but failed, and continued to attack the other party with her bag, and was kicked away by the passenger. The woman is a habitual offender of aggression and has harassed pregnant women, children, and people with limited mobility in the past, and has also harassed lecturers at the conference hall of Academia Sinica and was involved in lawsuits. Earlier, the police arrested him at a convenience store in Datong district. News highlights: the color of bed sheets has a significant impact on sleep. Neurosurgeon Xia Bingxian pointed out that red and yellow stimulate the nerves and easily prolong the time to fall asleep. Black is heat-absorbing, heavy, and may increase nightmares. White is not good for people who are sensitive to light due to its reflective effect. Blue and green are the most sleep-aiding, which can speed up falling asleep and increase sleep depth. Especially green can also reduce stress hormones and relax nerves. Choosing the right color is more effective than sleeping pills. News highlights: recently, a South Korean netizen broke the news on the forum that a South Korean couple was wearing hotel bathrobes and slippers to pay at a convenience store in Osaka, Japan, which sparked a debate between two groups of netizens. Some people criticized the faux pas and humiliation, reminding that hotel bathrobes should only be worn in the room. The other faction believes that the behavior is harmless and the online criticism is excessive. Experts pointed out that frequent overseas faux pas may affect the country's image, and urge passengers to pay attention to etiquette. News highlights: the overflow of the dammed lake of Matayan Creek in Hualien caused severe flooding in Guangfu Township, with 18 deaths, 6 missing, 125 injuries, and about 10 tons of silt and waste to be cleared. The county government has opened the 61 cultivated area of Taiwan sugar as the third temporary storage site, and plans the 4th to 6th places for backup, and the waste will be sent to the Taiwan cement gasifier for high-temperature decomposition and recycling to accelerate the recovery of residents' lives. News highlights: NVIDIA plans to set up its Taiwan headquarters at the T17 and T18 bases of Bishike, but the MAU signed with Xinjiao expires at the end of September and has not yet completed the transfer of superficial rights. Xinjiao hopes to transfer directly to NVIDIA, while the Beijing city government emphasizes handling it according to the contract and provides two plans. 1. After completing the building, it will be transferred. 2. The two parties agree to terminate the contract before transferring. News highlights: Hualien's Matayan Creek dammed lake collapsed on September 23, and Guangfu Township was severely damaged by floods, and the water receded and was covered with silt. People from all over the world spontaneously became Shovel Superman and Volunteer Cook Superman to participate in disaster relief. Taiwan Railway increased the frequency and stopped at Guangfu Station, and the Executive Yuan changed to village-oriented allocation of volunteers and machinery, with the goal of completing the cleaning of homes and roads before the Mid-Autumn Festival. News highlights: the Labor Insurance Bureau will issue 15 payments and subsidies in October, including labor insurance annuity, labor retirement monthly pension, national pension allowance, farmers' retirement savings and maternity checkup, paternity leave subsidies, etc. Eligible people should pay attention to the account date and enter the account according to the schedule from October 2, and note that there is a statute of limitations for applying for maternity, funeral and other benefits. News highlights: in October 2025, the 12 zodiac signs have different fortunes. The rat is busy but has good career and love, so you must pay attention to fatigue. The ox's career is stable and wealth is rising. Tiger love and luck are prosperous, so you need to be wary of villains in the workplace. Rabbit interpersonal selection is careful, and peach blossom luck is good. The dragon is highlighted in all aspects, and his career and feelings are smooth. Snake grows up in challenges and has good financial luck. Horses are proactive and enterprising, healthy and stable. Sheep's career is smooth, and relationships need to pay attention to villain interference. Monkeys need to be flexible in dealing with challenges and have warm feelings. The rooster is decisive and successful, and his financial luck is stable. Dogs have good social luck, and they need to pay attention to their health and financial luck. The pig has opportunities in his busy schedule and has stable financial luck. News highlights: according to the Labor Fund Utilization Bureau, as of the end of August 2025, the overall labor fund size was 7.34 trillion yuan, with an income of 3,422 billion yuan and a yield of 5.00%. The scale of the new labor retirement fund was 4.85 trillion yuan, with an income of 2,237.6 billion yuan, and an average income of 1.73 yuan per worker. The fund has a stable long-term investment, covering stocks, bonds, and domestic and foreign assets, and diversifying risks with diversified layout. News highlights the U.S. government is expected to shut down for the first time in the early morning of October 1 due to congressional failure to reach a consensus on the appropriations bill, and about 75 federal employees will be on unpaid leave, with daily personnel costs of $400 million. The shutdown will suspend most government business and delay the release of important economic data such as employment and CPI, which may affect financial markets and employment in the short term, but the impact on overall economic growth will be limited, and the Fed may need to formulate policies based on private data. News highlights the price of gold hit a record high, breaking through $3,800 per ounce, up more than 40% this year and 7% in the past month, far outperforming U.S. stocks. Factors driving the rise include the Fed's resumption of interest rate cuts, the global de-dollarization trend, the central bank's continued gold purchases, and Trump's intervention in the Fed and economic uncertainty. News highlights the new Taipei city government announced that the candidate bases of the new Taipei Dome, Shulin Machine 5 and Danhai Phase 2, were prioritized for evaluation. Mayor Hou Yuyi emphasized that the dome will combine smart services, sports, cultural performances, and tourism and entertainment to create an international sports park and new highlights of the city, promote local economy and long-term development, and will complete the final site selection and start the urban plan by the end of the year. News highlights companies around the world are actively adopting AI tools, but the Asana report warns that hasty deployment may lead to AI debt, including security risks, low-quality data, management gaps, and wasted employee time. Research shows that white-collar workers in the United States spend nearly 2 hours more per month due to AI-generated work garbage, with an annual loss of more than 2.8 billion yuan. Experts suggest that companies should gradually test and improve training and processes, and do not rush to go online to avoid high costs. News highlights the phenomenon of evaporation people in Japan refers to people who voluntarily cut off contact with family, friends, and work, cancel their residence cards and live anonymously, mostly due to debt, domestic violence, or social pressure. Although life has regained freedom, isolation and lack of stable housing and work may lead to mental and health problems in the long run. News highlights Nvidia's plan to set up a headquarters in Bishkek was stalled due to the expiration of the MOU with Shinkong Life Insurance on September 30, and the three parties did not reach a consensus on land rights, compensation, and planning autonomy. The Beijing city government does not support the direct transfer of superficial rights, and only allows build first and move later or agree to terminate the contract and return the land, but Huida prefers to develop it on its own. The expiration of the MOU will only suspend the existing arrangements, and whether to renegotiate or transfer the case in the future is still to be decided by the three parties. News highlights U.S. President Trump and the Democratic Party in Congress failed to negotiate a temporary spending bill, and the federal government is expected to close on October 1. If it is shut down, thousands of non-essential federal employees will be on unpaid leave, some maintenance workers will have to work without pay, flights may be delayed, economic data will be suspended, and Medicaid and scientific research will be affected. The market predicts an 80% chance of a shutdown, with an impact similar to the GDP loss caused by the 35-day shutdown in 2018. News highlights after Trump took office, China significantly reduced its holdings of U.S. bonds, from $1.31 trillion to $7,307 billion, making Japan and the United Kingdom the top two holders, but the total amount of U.S. bonds held by foreigners is still at a new high. As a means of internationalization and hedging of RMB, China's proportion of U.S. bonds has decreased, and future U.S. bond allocation and gold strategies are still worth paying attention to. News highlights Nike announced its financial report for the first quarter of fiscal year 2026 ended at the end of August, with revenue of $117.2 billion and EPS of 49 cents, both better than market expectations, but gross profit margin fell to 42.2%, mainly affected by U.S. tariff policies, and annual costs may increase by $1.5 billion. Nike is reducing its dependence on Chinese manufacturing, adjusting its corporate structure, and focusing on sports products to cope with rising costs and market challenges, with running shoe sales increasing by 20% last quarter. News highlights a magnitude 6.9 extremely shallow earthquake occurred off the coast of Raitai Island in the Philippines last night, with an epicenter depth of 10 kilometers, causing at least 20 deaths, dozens of injuries, damage to buildings and roads, and power outages in some areas. The collapse of the Cebu Provincial Gymnasium caused 13 deaths, aftershocks were frequent, and the tsunami warning was lifted. Mount Taal also erupted on a small scale, and the alert level 1 remained high. News highlights the overflow of the Matayan River dammed lake in Hualien Guangfu Township caused more than 1,500 houses to be flooded, of which about 400 still need to be cleaned. Hundreds of heavy machinery in the hard-hit area of Buddha Street worked day and night to clean roads and houses, and the National Army and volunteers assisted in shoveling silt. Some buildings were severely damaged, making it difficult for residents to return home in the short term, and sand and gravel yard operators lost tens of millions of yuan and were waiting for assistance to resume production. News highlights the body of a car in Chi City was severely dented, and it was still on the road after being wrapped in plastic wrap and tape, causing surprise among the public. The supervision station said that the car was not inspected, and the driver had violated the law, and could be fined up to 3,600 yuan. Auto repair companies also pointed out that vehicles may not have repair value and there are safety risks to driving. News highlights in 2024, the number of Taiwanese tourists to Japan exceeded a record high of 600, and the popularity will continue in 2025. From November 2026, Japan's duty-free system will be changed to tax paid in advance, airport tax refund, canceling instant tax refunds in stores and restrictions on the packaging of consumables, and must be inspected by customs within 90 days of purchase. Passengers need to log into the J-tax refund system in advance and keep the receipt to arrive at the airport early for tax refund. News highlights the Taiwan-US Economic and Trade Working Group of the Executive Yuan completed the 5th round of physical consultations at the end of September, discussing with the United States not to impose most favored nation tariff rates, striving for preferential tariffs under Section 232, and supply chain cooperation, and made some progress. Vice President Zhang Lijun emphasized that Taiwan has not committed to the 55 points of CHIPS and will continue to prioritize the interests of the country and industry and promote negotiations until a complete trade agreement is reached. News highlights the overflow of the dammed lake in Hualien's Matayan Creek has killed 18 people. The Ministry of the Interior clarified that vertical evacuation is not a new system, only applicable to buildings with stable structures and far from the waterfront, which is an emergency option at the moment of disaster, not a comprehensive evacuation alternative. News highlights: a netizen shared that her nursing classmates changed to TSMC and their lives upgraded significantly, often traveling abroad and driving luxury cars, which sparked discussion. According to the industry, these nursing students may work as workplace health nurses or resident nurses, responsible for employee health management and first aid, with an annual salary starting from about 150 yuan. This case shows that the nursing profession also has high-paying and diverse career options in the technology industry, subverting the traditional impression. News highlights the overflow of the dammed lake in Matayan Creek, Hualien, severely damaged Guangfu Township, causing 18 deaths, 121 injuries, and 6 missing people. The CDC reminds that disaster relief personnel may have symptoms such as fever, sore throat, or rhabdomyolysis when they return, emphasizing the implementation of the 3 guarantees of equipment protection, food protection, and cleaning protection, wearing protective equipment, paying attention to drinking water and food safety, and thoroughly cleaning the environment and hands to avoid infectious diseases. News highlights the new Taipei city government has selected Shulin Machine 5 and Danhai Phase 2 as the priority evaluation bases of the new Taipei Dome, which will build an international-level park that combines sports, culture, tourism, and smart services, covering an area of 23 hectares and convenient transportation. News highlights: a woman in her 60s surnamed Yang was found floating on the lake and was obviously dead when she was sent ashore. The police initially investigated the scene and found no signs of trauma or fighting, and have contacted the family and reported it to the prosecutor for examination. News highlights: a video of the conflict between the priority seats of the Northjet circulated, and an old woman attacked a young passenger with a bag and was kicked back, triggering an online debate. Actor Tang Kongsheng posted a nonviolent post, listing 10 reasons to call for empathy and restraint. News highlights: the Taipei Municipal Police Department counted the results of the anti-fraud in August, seizing 49 fraud groups and 415 people, with an amount of more than 2.4 billion yuan. The woman with dementia was defrauded more than 300 times by Biobase Investment in 4 years, with a financial loss of 1.6 billion yuan. The police remind the public to be cautious of online shopping, fake investment, and dating scams, and family members should assist people with dementia in financial management. News highlights: Dr. Wu Jiaon of New Taipei Dujin Hospital shared a patient who was initially diagnosed with stage 3 esophageal cancer and had been discovered for more than 10 years, but continued to cooperate with treatment and follow-up, and is now healthy at the age of 80. Doctors emphasize that cancer is not the end of life, and active treatment and regular follow-up are the keys to longevity. News highlights: the Legislative Yuan yesterday invited Premier Zhou Rongta to prepare for inquiries, and the Kuomintang Su Kioxin pointed out that the total budget has planted landmines against the government and the opposition, and called for inter-institutional consultations to focus on military salary increases, police and consumer income replacement rates, and subsidy distribution. She emphasized that military salary increases and police and consumer treatment need to be budgeted in accordance with the law, and subsidies can be distributed fairly to protect the rights and interests of the people. News highlights: the U.S. government may shut down for the first time in nearly 7 years on October 1 because the two parties have not reached an agreement on the spending bill. The impasse mainly revolves around medical policy, with the Democratic Party demanding the extension of medical subsidies and the maintenance of CDC and NIH funding, but the Trump administration refuses to make concessions. The shutdown will affect about 40% of federal employees, some public services will be reduced, and economic growth may fall by 0.1–0.2 percentage points per week, but Social Security and medical checks will still be issued. News highlights: artist Zhong Xinling and her friend Du Shimei and his wife joined hands to Hualien for disaster relief. In addition to building temporary bathhouses, They also set up a Water Gun Superman volunteer team to help clean up the homes of the affected households. Du Shimei and his wife personally sent cleaning equipment, and received donations and support from many artists in the entertainment industry, and their kindness aroused a wide response. News highlights: Ruan Jingtian was directly attacked by the media in November last year, and there was a woman with beautiful facial features and a sweet temperament next to her, who attended the party for 2 consecutive days and picked up and dropped off each other, suspected of living together. However, Ruan Jingtian emphasized that it was just a friend, the two families knew each other, and the other party was not a public figure, and did not admit that the relationship with Miss Su overlapped during the relationship, which caused speculation from the outside world. News highlights: Hongxi welcomed her second child on October 1 and shared her joy on Facebook. She said that during the cesarean section, the doctor found that the newborn's umbilical cord was wrapped like a telephone wire, and if it dragged on for a few more days, it might affect the oxygen supply, but fortunately, she gave birth immediately. The baby was born with a low body temperature, but after being warmed, it has returned to normal. Hongxi wrote emotionally that from now on, the family of 4 will explore the world together, and thanked her husband Yunqing for accompanying her in the process and giving her great stability. News highlights: Since Da-S died of illness in February this year, Wang Xiafei has obtained custody of her 2 children, and her current wife Mandy is also involved in taking care of her. Recently, the media directly hit the family for a meal and walk, and the child interacted naturally with his family. Mandy said that she will respect her children's life circle, and the couple frequently travels back and forth between the 2 sides of the Taiwan Strait to accompany their children and maintain family stability. News highlights: Mainland actor Liu Yuning's popularity soared because of his starring role in Bending the Waist. The 2025 tour will start in Shanghai on September 30. During the performance, he especially thanked the producer from Taiwan Chua Kwan, sparked heated discussions at the scene and netizens, and fans hope that Sister Kwan can host his Taiwan concert in the future. News highlights: Hong Kong actress Wen Yongshan and Wu Qinan, the second generation of financial riches, have been married for many years, and recently collaborated on the Chinese drama Sleepless Days to attract attention. She announced the good news on social platforms today, 30th, officially upgraded to mother, posted baby feet to share new family members, fans have sent blessings. News highlights: With the Mid-Autumn Festival approaching in 2025, all counties and cities in Taiwan will distribute gifts and condolences for the elderly, including seniors over 65 years old, low-income households, low and middle-income households, and people with disabilities. The amount varies from place to place. For example, Keelung City can reach up to 1.2 yuan, Dawin Mayor 2,500 yuan, Taipei City low-income households 1,500 to 2,000 yuan, New Taipei City 1,000 to 2,500 yuan depending on the village and status. News highlights: Executive Yuan Deputy Spokesperson Xie Zihun was approved to resign due to career planning and officially left office on September 30. Xie Zihun was a former DPP spokesperson and legislator assistant, and took over as deputy spokesperson of the Executive Yuan in May last year, during which he temporarily acted as the spokesperson, participating in interministerial policy coordination and media advocacy. She said that she will continue to care about Taiwan's affairs as a mother citizen. News highlights: The new Taipei city government announced that the priority evaluation base of the new Taipei Dome is Shulin Machine 5, Danhai Phase 2, which will create an international park that combines smart services, sports, culture, and tourism. The city government plans to develop 23 hectares as a whole, connecting the transportation network and surrounding resources, implementing the 2050 urban development vision, and will conduct feasibility assessments and urban planning processes. News highlights: Tarot teacher Eiffel pointed out that this year's Mid-Autumn Festival is on the same day as the Earth God's Christmas and Amnesty Day, known as the 3 Happiness Coming Door Super Auspicious Day, which is suitable for replenishing wealth, replenishing luck, and forgiving sins. It is recommended that believers worship the god of fortune with fruits, peanuts, mochi, sweet tea, and clear water, pray for wealth and blessings, and share offerings with their families to symbolize peace and good luck. News highlights: After the dam collapsed at the Matayan Creek Dammed Lake in Hualien Guangfu Township, volunteers from all over Taiwan spontaneously went to disaster relief and were called Shovel Superman by netizens. Recently, it has been reported that some volunteers have fever and sore throat after completing their tasks, and some people are even admitted to the intensive care unit due to rhabdomyolysis due to physical exhaustion. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention of the Ministry of Health and Welfare reminds that during disaster relief, it is important to implement the 3 guarantees of equipment protection, food protection, and cleaning protection, do what you can, and pay attention to personal hygiene and epidemic prevention. News highlights: A 21-year-old woman surnamed Chen was imprisoned and abused by her mother for a long time, eating only one meal or even starving all day, and finally starved to death with a weight of 30 kilograms. After the mother discovered her daughter's death, she pretended to cover up the Cold War and continued to destroy evidence for 5 days until her husband broke the door. The prosecutor has intervened in the investigation, and the father has also been named as a defendant. News highlights: This year's Teachers' Day, Mid-Autumn Festival, National Day, and Liberation Day all coincided with the 3-day holiday, which sparked discussions on Taiwan's implementation of a 3-day week. A Yahoo poll shows that among the more than 11 people who voted, 42.5% supported, 26.3% were very suitable, 16.2% were somewhat suitable, 42% were against, and the remaining 15.5% had no opinion. Proponents believe it can improve the Monday syndrome and be suitable for manufacturing, while opponents worry about reduced efficiency and reduced wages. News highlights: a magnitude 6.9 earthquake occurred in Cebu province in the central Philippines on the evening of September 30th, with an epicenter of only 10 kilometers and violent shaking. Many buildings and roads were damaged, and power outages were lost in some areas, killing at least 20 people. People panicked and fled outside the house to take shelter. The bridge deck and lights shook violently, and the authorities reminded them to pay attention to aftershocks and prioritize rescue. News highlights: on September 29th, a priority seat conflict occurred on the Taipei MRT, and a 73-year-old woman surnamed Zhang was kicked away by a young man for asking to give up her seat. This morning, first, she was arrested by the police at a convenience store in Datong district for theft, and was transferred to the Shilin district prosecutor's office for investigation after becoming emotional.